Item 2, invocation. Please bow your heads. Surely we can find something to be thankful about.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council never asked this before out of 18 years, but based on the weather tonight, I'd like to keep this as short as possible so we can go home, just in case something picks up this next week. Okay? Okay. Item 4, the agenda adoption. Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
The 2 resolutions for the AIA grant.
Okay. Can we make that part of the consent agenda? We've already approved them once.
If you don't mind, just make it a separate agenda item just in case. Please and thank you.
All right, let's make that 6B then.
Yes, sir.
Okay, consent agenda. Chair will entertain a motion to pass. All in favor, aye. Opposed, likewise, motion carries. The agenda adoption, go back to we're going to add item 6B, the 2 resolutions. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt. All in favor, aye. Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Zach, item 6.
So we're gonna do a quick update on the Braywick Road project. So as you recall, we actually are going to receive around $2 million, part of the loan, part of the grant. Well, technically all loan, but one loan does not need to be repaid, just got a different name. But either way, the categorical exclusion is provided from water infrastructure. The estimated project cost is $2.2 million. The funding amount's estimated to be $2.1 million. I believe 1.1 is forgiven. But basically, this portion of the project is the CCTV of about 8,200 linear feet of 8-inch and 10-inch gravity sewer, find and fix on the rehab replacement of about 7,700 linear feet of 8-inch, 500 linear feet of 10-inch gravity, and rehabilitation of 30 manholes with around 80, we think, service laterals. And the milestones we have to reach, we got to have a bid package design submittal November 1st, 2021. Around 30 to 45 days before that, we have to have approval from LGC. 30 days before that, we got to have a letter to the LGC asking. Bunch of different stuff, but basically, what you have is some communications. We're still ahead of schedule. We're behind what we projected because the state office of historic preservation asked us to, we basically did a survey of the property looking for arrowheads and historical stuff that was required for us. But basically, right now, the conversation we've had with Withers is they're coming out, they'll be utilizing the manhole at Laurel and Melrose, going down there. They'll be filling trucks, they'll be doing CCTV, they will clean their equipment at the sewer plant. And once they have that information, they'll be putting together some bid package design work when they have a better aspect of what they're going to be doing. And then we'll work toward rebuilding the Braywick line from the plant down. So it's going to go all the way down to about Woodland Park.
Does it go behind the Spanish door?
Yes, yes. Well, it will go behind Spanish Courts. It will, I don't know if it will be super close to Spanish Courts.
It'll be probably down in the bottom between the mayor's house and Spanish Court.
No, it's on the other side, is it not?
It's on,
It's on the Breivik side going down the hill with condos, am I not?
Yeah, it's on it'll be on the side, it'll go past the tennis courts, down through there on the sewer easement that we have.
There is a tennis court down across the road from me.
Yeah.
So you're talking about where the overflow was all those times?
Yeah, so this
That's
project
the
is because of the overflow. It's an expensive project, but it's because the system was designed the way it was by.
Remember when Travis used to live?
Where you used to live?
No, you still live there, you know where you live, mate?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
all about.
it's at the bottom, did you? The bottom of that hill, there where that one is overflowed so many times, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
No, pretty much behind my house has been fixed, we fixed that in, what, 2000?
Yeah, this isn't gonna fix the entire, it's not gonna replace the entire system, but they're gonna go through and find out what needs to be fixed from there. And then and I know what you're thinking, because the idea is we've had it fixing some of those issues around Hidden Hill and all that. And we can try to tie some of that in, because one of the things, this project, it seems very large, but, the engineers seem to think that we can do some improvements and get some stuff built, maybe even up toward, Forest Lane and some of the areas that feed into this. What the engineers say is it's not necessarily it is flow from the plant down, but it's also not being helped by all the flow coming in from the top side. So, and there's a lot of prescribed easements that we have to go through, because some of these lines are so old, we don't have dedicated easements. But we can prove our lines have been there, we've been maintaining lines, we have these. So we're gonna walk through all this, and I'll probably have Withers come down and talk, but,
Yeah, what I want to hear from other people, when do you think we put the first shovel in the ground at this point?
so, let me see.
We make it in the next year, 6 months?
It won't be 6 months, but basically, we have to have a bid design submitted by November 1st and approved by March. We are required to execute a construction contract by August 1st of 2022. We will be way ahead of that, in my opinion, so far, because we're already way ahead of what we're supposed to be at this point anyway.
Keep going back, we're sort of on the fast track for this, but I keep going back to the water plant, it took close to 4 years on the fast track.
Yeah,
From the start to the finish.
yeah, I mean, we got held up a month and a half just to do some state and historic preservation stuff. But other than that, it's a pretty basic project. It was just honestly, the hardest thing I think is making sure we find all the lateral connections that we have in place.
It's not those circles.
That's, we'll find out.
16, you ready for 6 feet?
Yes, sir. So in order to apply to an AIA grant, for some infrastructure needs, it's asset inventory and assessment studies. In order to apply those, I have 2 resolutions in front of you. We discussed them earlier, not in depth, but both of these resolutions have to be passed, one handling the Federal Clean Water Act amendments and another doing Session Law 2020-79.
Is the Federal Clean Water Act first?
Either one, no particular order, but I don't know what order you have them in. You probably have Session Law 2020-79, that one.
Okay. This one, it says Section Law 2029, shall be adopted. Entertain a motion to, there's a motion, all in favor? All opposed, likewise, motion carries. Second one, the Federal Clean Water Act, chair will entertain a motion to adopt. Okay, motion, all in favor, aye. Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Item 7.
So item 7 is going to be the update on Lake Lanier. Basically what I've got in your agenda packet is some conversation as well as the actual inspections. But basically the Lake Lanier Dam was inspected. Obviously it's listed as high hazard class. That doesn't denote anything about the structure. That denotes it is over a certain age and of a certain, width. Basically, we have to submit a plan on or before November 1st. for the following: stabilizing the slides and sloughs located on the left and right downstream abutments, cutting and removing the brush vegetation adjacent to the outlet of the interceptor drain and the right downstream area, and then monitoring activities. They also have recommendations, including finding a way to lower the water level or developing a plan or system to do so, updating the EAP, the Emergency Action Plan. We have a pretty up-to-date one, but we can update it even more. And the hazard class review will stay the same. We will respond. Everything will be pretty normal. We'll get prepared the slows. We'll check the vegetation and brush. I did speak with Chuck Owens of DHEC. They're going to try to help us figure some federal funds out to do some of the bigger projects that we'd like to do with the dam. And we know the inspection, which is kind of included. For its age, it's doing very well. I did include the bridge inspection form. So for those at Lake Lanier or anywhere in town concerned about this at home, they can look in the minutes. But basically, the inspection came back. They noticed deficiencies for the bridge, including areas for the 4 solid concrete piers with concrete caps near the water line, horizontal cracks, different things related to T-beams, deck cracking throughout the deck, various deficiencies, but DOT did open the bridge back up with a different load bearing. So the bridge is going to be open until otherwise noted. So basically what happened was Cranston said, you might want to look at the bridge. They shut it down. They went and looked at it, and then they opened it back up. But all of that is included, as well as the dam inspection, which is public record. And then the Cranston's already been public, so anyone that wants that can find that as well. The dam's it's in as good a shape as it can be for its age. We do have to take care of it and maintain it. We're not going to be able to do some of the big ticket items, but we can definitely get out and do some of the other stuff.
So the letter we got from Lake Lanier Civic Association.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it looks like to me that there are folks out there willing to help in some way. Can we use their help? Is there something they can do? They're talking about,
I mean, theoretically, we could use all the help we could get. I guess I know they said in there that they have to offer some lawyers and all that, but I don't think we're going to need help, applying to grants or doing. We have DHEC to help with that, and they're more qualified than anyone out there. But I think what they can do is talk to their representatives, whether it be state, local, because the issue we have, both states have pawned off on each other for years, and that's why we are where we are. So if they're willing to contact people, we can work, and however you want me to respond to the letter, I'll respond. I mean, we can go ahead, I can meet with them, we can all meet with them, however you want to do that. I'll take care of it.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the city representatives,
All right.
because the dollars in the long run are going to have to come from either 2 states or feds.
Right.
Or Greenville County, I mean, they're the ones cashing in on the tax base up there.
Yeah.
All right, item 8, fire department request.
So item 8, our fire chief is actually off on a call right now. Did he just get here? Oh, well, come on in.
You're up.
He has a request, you've got listed in here, and we can discuss it whenever.
How's everybody? We've been running around, so if we have to sneak out, we apologize. Things are starting to fall and flood, as you can imagine. First, before I get started on this, I'll bring the guys in real fast. So we're missing one. He just pulled about, I don't know, 72 hours with us close. He went home and went to sleep, but this is our newest hire. This is Kemper Henderson. He comes from the city of Hendersonville Public Works, but he's been in the fire service since he was little. His dad's a retired fireman, so he's been around it pretty much his entire life. So he's moved down right into Landrum on our side of things, so he's pretty local now. He's now on B shift. I know you've seen Wesley around, he's been here a few months, this is Wesley. He also comes from Henderson County. And of course, everyone knows Josh. And then Jackson, he's the one who went home, but he's put in a lot of hours, so we sent him home to get some rest. So this is our staff at Tron now, full-time, so it's one area.
Thank you, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
As far as the requests go, there's some needs we identified that we could use this year. I've got a list of them. I've done a lot of looking around and trying to find the best deals. NFPA, we're regulated by NFPA. We're required to have 2 sets of turnout gear. We're recommended we have it. Now that I'm full staff, I'm asking for 5 sets to cover the paid staff. So if we go out tonight and have a fire in the rain, we can come back and have a clean set of gear we can change into while we get our other stuff washed. We have gear we could put the volunteers in and wash their new stuff, but for the paid staff that are constantly running, so we've quoted that at $17,000. That includes boots and helmets, not just the gear. That'll outfit us completely. Our washer and dryer for uniforms is year 2006, and it's on its last leg. We have a washer donated to us from Dana Fire Department, but it's also on its last leg. So that's about $1,800. The county is utilizing Viper system radios more frequently now. Anytime the helicopter comes, they use Viper radios. Anytime we go to a carry out or mutual aid down in Green River Cove or our Palm Rock, they recommend us use Vipers. I've got them quoted at $11,380. However, the county departments in Tron went to the county, and when y'all heard we're changing, the counties are changing the entire radio system. We asked if we could piggyback, each department needs Vipers, if we could piggyback on the order, and we're gonna get a discounted rate. So that price will go down once they tell us how much they'll knock off for doing a bulk order. But we also are in need of a couple of pagers for the station, so that's included in that. These guys, these paid staff, I'm super proud of them. The world we live in, and it's not just here, but the volunteers are slowly fading away. The Scotties, the Garys, the Bobs, they've done it their entire life. They're ready to take a break. We're running at 72% of calls answered by paid staff only. We're trying recruitment and retention to bring volunteers in any chance we get. The fact is, these guys are carrying the load. So the plan is, with y'all's permission, is we're going to move Connell and my office over here. We got a spot, and we like to make them a little day room. So like last night, we were up 2 or 3 times. Jackson stayed over for the weather event. Just a place where we're asking for some recliners, like a little TV for them, a place they can relax and after they've worked. And I don't encourage laziness by any means, but these guys are pulling long shifts and have kids. So we're asking for some furniture, about $4,000 worth of furniture, to make them a day room so they can kind of tuck away if they need to and have space for themselves. And kind of take a little break if needed. These guys are always on top of things. If there's a call, I mean, we're on it, but we are putting in long hours. So those are the items, except for one last one. Due to the fact, like I said, we're running, statistically, we're running calls with just paid staff. We had an incident a couple months back where Mr. Connell had run a call and a paramedic. We had a second call in a row. Connell announced that he was leaving the call, got in his 4Runner. The paramedic mistook him for somebody else and punched his mirror and broke it. And I handled the situation with the supervisors, but the excuse was he didn't have blinky lights. So with, Connell and myself support the paid staff after hours. I've let Connell take the Tahoe. So we're looking at a vehicle. The two options we have, you see, after doing lots and lots of research, to get a vehicle used and put wires in it, you're looking at about 33 lights and sirens, you're about $33,000 one time. And then of course the upkeep. But what I'd like to propose is maybe looking at the stipend again for my vehicle, the $500 a month. My truck, I've already got lights and sirens in it. We want to have that cost at all. You're looking at $6,000 a year on the stipend versus, a chunk out of our fund balance. So I would like to propose whichever y'all decide on that one. Person in the vehicle, person needs equipment, or for the vehicle, refer back to the stipend.
The latter sounds better to me. Another vehicle. It's,
Yeah, I mean, we had the stipend,
yeah,
and what occurred was, before tank passed, we purchased the Tahoe,
right.
and I think at the time it was a good decision. I think what we've seen is, and I'll attest to this, we are losing volunteers, and it's not because of who we have here, or because of anything else. The amount of hours they require out of volunteers is absolutely ridiculous. The state is on purpose making it difficult to be a volunteer fireman. They want to get out of that game. They want to make everything a paid department because it's cheaper across the board. There's less pension and all sorts of things. But we are losing volunteers, and the volunteers we do have are getting up in age and they can't make it out in the middle of the night like they used to. Connell and Walton, they are sharing those duties at night so that when someone responds at 3 a.m, they will show up in like the supervisory role, so that we have at least 2, if not 3 people on scene. And we have had damages to my car. If anyone remembers, tank back into my truck one time. So these things do happen, and the Tahoe was a good solution, but I think going back to this to be cheaper in the long run, if it's something that you're willing to entertain. That's a board decision. As far as the other equipment, we would like to move them into an office up here and turn the other 2 offices over there into day room and locker room, so that we have more space for the people that live there.
All the things you propose, anything financed or is cash there for?
Good cash. Making the amendments out of the fund balance. We have, about 300,000 in the fund balance. We're projected to put about 174 back in this year. But altogether, you're looking at, we'll still have, over $230,000 in the fund balance with nothing financed.
Zach, are you satisfied with what he's asking?
I'm sorry, sir.
All right, are you satisfied with what he's asking?
Yeah. I mean, the fund balance is healthy thanks to tenant. I mean, they can afford these things. Most of them are one time. The stipend is something that we have recommended to council for years. We did get to it. We backtracked before tank died because of the deal that we got on that Tahoe. But the car that I have, there's no reason the town should be spending that kind of money in the first place or upkeep. The same with whenever Jeff retires and that Tahoe is put out of commission, there's no reason the town should buy a $70,000 vehicle for someone when you can give a stipend and they can go get something themselves. So it is better in the long run. The guys working there do need the equipment that he's asking for. The Viper stuff, it makes sense. I mean, I don't think there's anything out of order in the asking. I know it's not fun to hear because it's not a good number, but
Just saving lives, that's all I want to know. Next question, do you have a total number?
I gotta subtract the, so you're looking about $35,000, taking the 33 out by doing the stipend. So about 33,000, 33 to 35,000.
Make a motion to fill out this one now.
Okay, up to, got
Let me get those.
36,000, 38,000.
What was the number that you just said?
We said 35, 36.
30.
I would say 36 would be fine.
Okay.
And then, because remember, some of those numbers are gonna be cheaper,
Exactly.
so it should be fine.
We have that up to 36,000. All those in favor, aye? Opposed likewise, motion carries.
And my final thing is, in the workshop a few months ago, I just want to confirm, y'all are still okay if we look to sell a couple of those vehicles, go ahead and turn in the bid for the, or put it on to the upset bid for the tanker and the rescue truck. We had talked about getting a mini pumper that was more accessible to these driveways. And before we did that, we just want to reconfirm that that was still okay. We potentially selling the brush truck as well. Gives us more gallons per minute, gives us a bigger tank, gets us up to these driveways where we can't get an engine. Super easy.
Well, that makes sense, Chief. I'm sitting here thinking after 20 years of being here, you're the third person that's come and asked for another truck like that. And I don't think the first two ever decided to measure with the truck and any path they might have to go through when you have.
Yes, sir. And we've also got a deal with Columbus. They have a truck that is the size we want, and they're gonna let Daniel Walker and myself take it through some of the places we haven't been able to drive up. We're gonna take it just to make sure, because that is the size that we need. So we're in works with doing that as well.
Motion to that effect? Or just
Yeah,
find what he wants to
If you can
bring
make a
back?
motion, and then we'll adjust our budget amendment, we'd like to stay on top of that. So,
Well, I think we already discussed
Yes.
this in the group, so, yeah, make a motion to go ahead and put that
All in
plan
favor,
in
aye?
action.
Opposed? Likewise, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chief. 9,
so the
budget
budget.
amendment number 1.
So we have budget amendment number 1 here. It will be the same that you would approve, except you would also have appropriation for fire fund balance at 36,000 and, putting it out as an expenditure in the fire department as 36,000. So if you are okay with that, make a motion. Susan will draw it up and we'll make sure you sign it.
I hear a motion to that effect. All those in favor, aye? Opposed likewise, motion carries. Item 10, minimum housing.
45 Kennedy Lane, I got the hearing scheduled for August 7th. It's clearly uninhabitable there, but there is that minimum length of 45 days that I have to put on the place before the town can take any action on it. Remember the whole thing we called it before. And 143 Broadway, I actually spoke with the owner. He says the property will be sold on September 1st. And if I have spoken to who is still purchasing it, he has expressed that it will be repaired promptly. Everybody will be happy. That's all I have for housing right now. I did want to talk about the potential kazoo agreement for the town to erect a kazoo here in the town of Houston Spring. Is the contract in the packet?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a preliminary contract. We can still make edits to it. We prefer to do it ourselves as the town. But if the Public Works Department can't get to it, we may have to farm it out, which might cost a little bit more. We are in talks with Greg Miner to see if arrangements can be made on an as-needed kind of basis. As far as in the contract, it says the town of Trimark representative, that'll be Zach, Jody, and myself. We'll just keep track of everything going on and just keep numbers, keep an eye on the numbers. But we hope to get that grew pretty quick here, so.
Yeah, so the idea is for you guys to, think about this, and we will get things started as soon as winter hits, and we want to attack cuts so we can get the program going. But if you see any changes you want made, you got a couple of months, but we're gonna try to utilize our services to help get rid of some cuts.
This week is the week you spray cut, it's in the blood. So if you wanna kill the roots, it's
11 TDDA update. Pretty much had the update from discussion earlier.
Good evening. You all will find in your packets the MSD report that you tasked me with putting together back in June. So those are available for you, just a basic overview of the general statute requirements, what the proposed map boundaries would be, and then a plan for implementing services in the district. You also should have a copy of my executive director report, so you see a little bit of what I've been working on, organized by 4 points, for Main Street downtown revitalization. Definitely been working a lot on the MSD. We've been doing a lot of great stuff with our board. We recently brought on 3 new board members and completed a board member orientation last Saturday. So we've got a lot of good things in motion. Our committees are doing good work, and I think we're gonna have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Beer Fest is back in the swing of planning. We are currently planning to go full speed ahead with that, and we've gotten some really cool food vendors who are planning to come. We're having some great food trucks. We've got some great bands lined up. But we are, of course, paying close attention to COVID-19 guidelines and requirements from the state and national. So we just had a meeting before this meeting and decided that we would try to make a final call by October 1st. So we're just kind of playing it by ear right now, but as of now, we've sold, I think around 60 to 70 tickets, and we're doing pretty well in sales, and just gonna plan on until we know more. So we've been pretty busy with that, and if anyone has questions for me now,
Thank you.
yeah. Yes, regarding the MSD implementation.
We wanted consensus of 55%.
Of the central business district.
Yes.
So I guess calling for a petition to be formed.
You need to make a motion whether or not you want her to do a petition.
Chair needs a motion to,
You direct Paige to
Yeah.
put up petitions.
petitions or surveys.
Yeah, if you want to do the petition, you do that, or if you want to dictate the district. And then if you do want the petition, you need to dictate where you want her to start. So from your discussions earlier, it sounded like you as a board wanted her to petition the central business district.
Correct.
Correct. I hear a motion to that effect. All those in favor, aye. And those likewise, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that back up, Chris. Town manager?
I'll keep it short and sweet, but basically, Iowa Utility Reserve orientation and dinner occurred, multiple Beer Fest meetings, the branding meetings have started, with Arnett and Grove. We're excited about that. We've responded to the LGC, Conservative Carolina, as we talked, Salute the Great Rail Trail. The new accountants are working on the books and making progress. The new auditors will be here in September. Again, the dam and the bridge was inspected. The Tryon gravel ride is occurring again this year. They'll be leaving from Harmon Field. Slightly different map. We can get that map to you. We did meet with police and fire. We've had discussions with the Film Fest crew. Streets have been doing a couple tons of asphalt patching, more to come next week. We coordinated with the county regarding some septic issues on Jackson Street. The Caps Road Bridge project was approved. It should be starting construction in the second week of September. We'll see. We submitted infrastructure needs to Jake Johnson in an attempt to fund them through the governor's budget. I do not think they were successful. CCC and Bragg are still working with Mountain Waters Inc. regarding a parking lot for the Melrose Rock Climbing Park. They put in a ton of effort up there. The place is looking great, but we need parking, and they're trying to coordinate that. But we're still getting a lot of use. People are coming up with big buses and bringing schools, and that is creating an issue while we're trying to get the parking before we do the signage and get grand opening that deal. We did have a cookout at Roseland. It was a very nice time. ARP funding request was completed by Mayor Beeples. That transfer did occur. Census numbers came in. Over the past 10 years, Polk County has shrunk, but I haven't broken down yet, but I would imagine Polk has grown in the past 2 to 3, but they shrunk so much, 3 to 7, it still looks like we shrunk, because the numbers weren't terrible. Other than that, the crews have been busy. Public Works has been very busy. They've had a ton of breaks. The fire department's been extremely busy. I can't remember if it was last night or the night before, because I can't remember things anymore, but there were like 4 or 5 trees down, lines everywhere, kind of out of nowhere. The police departments, they've been doing a great job. They necessarily haven't been busy, which is a good thing for them, but they've been taking time to kind of walk the streets and do different things. Overall, things are good. And I do want to say that the fire guys put in a lot of work overnight that we haven't really been able to talk about. They're putting in a lot of hours. And then Travis and Harmon Field's doing good. We did lose Dennis, but we're going to be advertising for a position to take over with Gary, leaving as well. We're going to try to have a full-time that covers both. So, but other than that, Harmon Field's doing well. We will be taking, Chris brought to my attention a stone in memory of the man that passed away out there. So I found the stone. We have to do natural vegetation to protect the bank that's in there. I've spoken with Jody. We're going to get it back home, get it moved, and put on the actual walking trail so you can see it. So we'll be working on all that stuff coming up. But other than that, I don't think I have anything.
Okay. Item 13 tonight, in order, Bill Fuller, Bill Ingham, Chris, Sherelle, and me.
Well, I don't really have a lot. I want to thank the staff and everything they're doing. Paige and the TDA, they're moving forward. It's a great thing. Thank the 3 citizens here, and but I don't really have anything.
Okay.
And I'm gonna keep it shorter than Bill. I just want to thank everybody, all you guys in that room work so hard all the time. Thank you very much. Travis, thank you back there. Tim, didn't need over. Thank all the staff for doing such a fine job. You're a little late, Brandon.
Chris?
I'd just like to recognize the teamwork of Tryon and Rock Hill. I think it's very impressive that in less than 24 hours, $10,000 raised. For the Trevor Fund, almost 10,000. Congratulations to all things, all good things bakery on your opening. From Tiffany at the National Trust, she'll release a report next week on the community engagement about future uses of the municipal workplace. And they've decided to do the final renovations in 1 phase as opposed to 2.
Well, thank everybody for coming out, thank you all the hard work. And, have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Short end table.
We have here a request to go volunteer board. Robert, can you shed some light on this for the historical board?
Yes, thank you guys, all for, joining me a few months ago, and it's been very busy. Kind of get a speed on it, I've been touching with people in Raleigh, understand what's going on, they're trying to, watch watch the videos that they have, the instructional videos on how to set this up. Dean Trickus and Julia Calhoun, so far to be to sit on the board with us. There are, as you probably know, I haven't done this before, there are some requirements for the people that are on the board. And that's not always easy to fill with the people inside. That is a request that you've received?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
If you're not seeing this,
No.
is it for us to look at the qualifications of that?
Excuse me?
But do you need time to study it before you recommend this person?
Oh, absolutely, because there are, like I say, it's not only just, it's a composition of the board that's important as much as anything. You need to have a certain number of.
You were wanting to find people, if you don't think we're ready to accept anybody yet, any board, have any problem with that?
Would it be possible to get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, your copy. All right, thank you.
I'll hopefully be able to update you more in the next, like I say, it's pretty minor.
And my last thing, folks, is we have lost 5 citizens in this town in 2 weeks. Carl Morton, Don Beeman, Tom Frost, Roberta Rattery, and Pat Cole-Furillo. It's not awful when someone passes away. There's 5 people that I consider leaders and artists, and I knew all 5 of them personally and had a personal relationship with all of them. So it's a sad day in time when you lose that many leaders of one form or another. That being said, for the good, has anybody got anything to say for the good? If not, you got one to read, Jim, that's right, I forgot about that.
Okay, this is from Roger Dayball. He states, an article in the September 28th, 2020 Daily Bulletin reported that the state of North Carolina had approved a financial package to assist Tryon in replacing the Braywick sewer line. Since that time, very little information about this project has been made available. At the meeting tonight, please give a brief overview about this project. For example, what steps have already been completed and what steps are currently underway. This is an important project from both an environmental and financial point of view, and it should be reported at each monthly meeting. Sincerely, Roger Dayball.
Which we did go through.
Yeah.
Yes, and as we said, I still don't think the next will happen for 6 months. People sometimes forget, Roddy, that if you're dealing with the government and the government's above you, everything has a step, it has to be lockstep. If you miss a step, you got to go back and start to pick it up. We've been on this, when we started working on it 3 years ago, when we first started working with the collection pond.
We didn't get the package until, I think we were approved in August, and September. Daily Bulletin may have had something about it, I don't know, but it takes a very long time, and it'll be, I mean, just, they're saying we're not required to be done for the state's requirements until August of 2022. So, I mean, if they're saying that, I mean.
Well, I promise you, we don't like it, because every time that happens, how many fines have we had? $10,000 worth?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We've had over $10,000 worth, which means that every household that has a spigot is probably paid $3 or more for the cost of this. So yeah, we're working on it. It doesn't seem like it, but we're working on it. Okay, anybody else? Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Excuse me? Yes, you gotta speak up. I taught you better than you, Lance.
I just wanted to ask a couple quick questions and make a couple comments on the MSD. One, appreciate your consideration for this important investment in our downtown revitalization. Based on the boundary maps that have been drawn, The expected revenues are somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 50,000. And again, as a reminder from what I said in June, every dollar invested in downtown revitalization, the National Main Street Association found returns $30 in economic development. So if we use the kind of midpoint of 40,000 in MSD revenues, that's a $1.2 million economic impact on our downtown. Just want to make sure that was everyone's mind. On the decision to require a petition for 55% of the central business district, I wanted a quick point of clarification. Is that the owners or 55%? What is 55% of
It
what?
has to, am I not correct, Zach? It has to be the owners who are actually paying the tax,
Would be the property owners
property owners.
Property owners in general, inclusive of,
that are in the central business
they're
district.
in the central businesses. Does that include nonprofits who would presumably not be subject to the MSD Act?
Now, is that a question that needs to be reviewed, or does that make any difference?
From what we've gathered, I don't believe it does, from what I've asked. I can double check with Sherry though. I will call Sherry and double check.
And then the other question I had was as it related to the council's response to the notion of creating a downtown advisory board. Was that discussed in the workshop or any other?
Yes, we did. I did discuss that with.
Yes, we were aware of that.
Okay, is that, what is the council's perspective on that notion?
We didn't vote to do one tonight, but I think we're in favor of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
We have a motion, all those in favor, aye? All those likewise, motion carries. We're adjourned. I won't get out of stone, Dave.